Welcome to Beyond Death, where we examine near-death experiences from people who say they have died, visited the other side, and returned. Today's NDE comes from Volley B, who tells of crossing over to the other side twice and having near-identical experiences each time. Let's get straight into it. Hello, I am a 43-year-old male. I want to share my near-death experience with you because I really haven't told anyone about everything that I witnessed and saw while I was dead twice. When I was a kid, I was very active and never chose to sit inside and be lazy, but instead I would go outside and do something. I loved sports and the outdoors. I did not do drugs, alcohol, or smoke. This pattern continued until my first heart attack at 25. The following year I had another heart attack, and that was when I had my first NDE. I remember being in my mom's room while she was on her computer. 1 minute I was talking with her, and the next, I remember being in the ambulance with the paramedics working on me. I told them I was fine and asked them what were they doing and why they were all rushing around. It was confusing, but as I was telling them I was fine, I started feeling my chest hurt and boom, I woke up again. I was standing in front of a massive building. Actually, building is not quite right, but it's difficult to describe. In front of the building were tall pillars like those old Roman temples. The light seemed to be coming from all around, like there was no source of the light because it was everywhere. The front of the building had one giant doorway. There was no door, just an open archway. As I looked at this building, my uncle, who died approximately 5 or 6 years before this, was standing beside me. He told me that I needed to go into the building and he would walk with me. I walked with my uncle through this massive coliseum with the huge pillars lining the entire way. As we were walking, we said nothing because it felt like nothing needed to be said. I was calm and didn't feel like I needed to worry at all. As I got to about the middle of this room, I heard my grandfather's voice saying, "This is not your time." We stopped and I opened my eyes. I was in the hospital. The heart doctor put in a stent in my body and said that I was lucky to be alive. I had been clinically dead for 14 minutes. I continued to be plagued with health problems over the next 10 years, during which I had more heart attacks, multiple knee surgeries, a neck fusion. All my lower back was fused. Then I had another major heart attack. This time I woke up in a beautiful, rolling field and was standing on the edge of a large pond. As I look around, I saw that same huge pillar building on the top of a hill in the back left part of this field. There was a waterfall that seemed to be coming from nowhere that was falling into the other side of this large pond. As I looked, I had noticed that where the water was falling into the pond, there was no disturbance, like splashing or ripples. It was quite beautiful. There was also a tree line on the back right side of this field that came from the right back side and came all the way out almost to the middle of this field. This tree line is important. As I looked around, I saw my uncle again. In our communication, I never saw his mouth move. He just kept that smile. It was more like his voice was put right into my head. He was smiling at me as he said, "Hello again." I remember laughing, and he raised his arms and asked, "Do you like it?" as he referred to my surroundings. I answered, "Yes, I do." He brought one of his arms down and motioned towards the pond as he said, "This is where we are going to be doing our fishing." As I looked down, I could see that I was standing about an inch off the top of the water. I looked straight down into the pond and saw large fish swimming around. Then I looked back up to him, and he motioned to me to join him on the other side. He said, "There is someone waiting for you." I immediately get this feeling that ran throughout my whole body. The closest I can describe the feeling would be love, but with that feeling also came infinite knowledge. This knowledge was telling me that I knew exactly who was waiting for me, which made me even happier. In life, I had excruciating pain every time I moved or sat for long periods of time. But when I was dead and on the other side, I felt none of that pain and none of that depression. I felt happy. This feeling isn't the kind of happy that's the same as I'm so happy because I got a new car or happy that Haagen-Dazs ice cream has made a new chocolate flavor. This was the kind of happy like all the happy times of my life all rolled up into a constant feeling of true happiness. When I say that we walked, walking is probably not the right word for that either. It was more like gliding. So while I was there, I felt no pain at all, or did not get tired from moving or walking/gliding. I immediately knew who was waiting for me and where I needed to go. My uncle and I started walking/gliding across this field and moving toward the tree line in the back right section of this field. The trees were large, but not as large as a sequoia. It was full of fall season, colored leaves. When we reached the edge of the tree line that stopped about midway through the field, we saw a house. The two-story, beautiful house had a porch. As I walked to the corner of the house to look down the other side of the house, I noticed that the house was attached to a truck. The house was not just being pulled by the truck, but actually like the house was the bed of the truck. It was like someone could drive the truck and take the house with them. But when I saw what truck, it seemed to make sense. It was a green dually. A dually is larger than a normal pickup truck and is usually meant to pull fifth-wheel trailers. I came back to the porch of the house, went to the door, and knocked on it. I knew exactly who was going to open it. I just knew it was going to be my dad, who had passed a few years before this happened. I knew it with every part of my being. But before he got to open the door, I heard another familiar voice behind me. It was my grandfather, who had passed around the same time my dad did. He was the same grandfather who pulled me from there the last time I died. This time he seemed almost, I can't say angry because it was not anger, but concerned. It was like being a child, doing something dangerous, and my parents ran over and held me saying, "Never do that again. Do you know how dangerous that is? We could have lost you." It's a concerned scolding, I guess, is the best way to put it. Anyway, I didn't see him, but that's the way his voice sounded. He said this time, not speaking to me, but sounding like he was speaking to his son, my uncle. He scolded, "He is not done yet. He has to go back." I felt my grandfather's hand grab my arm as I was pulled up. Then my eyes opened, and I was lying on a hospital bed with nurses and doctors standing over me. I had a few follow-up appointments with this heart doctor, who was the doctor that was standing over me when I woke up. He said, "Mr. B, you are the luckiest man I've seen." I figured he was going to tell me because you are here and to change my diet, etc. But no, he told me that I was clinically dead for 27 minutes and that they had been working on me the whole time. He said that he had put down the defibrillator and said, "I'm calling it." That means they were stopping their attempts to bring me back to life. He continues by saying, I put the paddles down, looked up at the clock and said, "Mark down time of death." As he was trying to say the word death, the heart monitor beeped once. He said, Well, let's try one more shock." As they shocked me one more time, my eyes popped open wide, looking around the room and trying to move around. I heard a nurse say, "Oh my God," and another said, "He must have a guardian angel looking over him." He also told me that they had shocked me with the defibrillator over 13 times. I had the burns on my chest to prove it. I have been to the same place twice after dying. I saw the same person greet me both times. I was pulled from that place twice by the same person. Each time was not identical, so it wasn't like my brain was trying to show me the same thing twice. It showed me exactly where I was going when I do happen to die. It also showed me that I have led a good life, because if I hadn't, I'm sure that experience would have been a whole lot different. The first time I died, I believed that the hallway of pillars that I was walking down was bringing me to someone very important. But the second time, where I was going to see my dad, the first time felt different, as in, it felt more important. My NDE was real despite what naysayers might say. My opinion cannot be changed. One more thing. I am looking for a talented artist that can draw what I saw both times I died. I don't have any money to pay this person, but I will greatly appreciate it. I expect it to take a few tries unless there is a way to be with the artist to make real-time modifications. Note from Beyond Death. Anyone that wishes to read the question and answer portion of Volley B's near-death experience can visit the link in the description. And since I keep getting questions that the original post did not cover, I have to ask why some of my subscribers assume I know the answer. As always, I give my viewers 100% of the available information. Beyond that, we can only speculate. Be sure to drop a comment below giving me your thoughts on this NDE, and as always, stay blessed.